Hey guys, thank you for joining me today for the first video that I have on discussing depression. First, I'd like to let you know I do not have all the answers. And I do know that there are millions of people experiencing signs and symptoms of depression. Some have been experiencing them for long terms, and some are just maybe experiencing them now that things are getting back to normal, but for them that's not the case, and it could be for many different reasons and events that have happened in your life. It could be work related, school related, family related, relationship related, many different types of relationships. It can be related to finding your identity. It can be related to having reservations about how you want to move forward in your life. It can be due to health. It can be due to diet. It can be due to spiritual challenges. It can be due to a number of things. But I just want you to know that although there are normal setbacks that each and all of us experience that are temporary and that can just at times slow us down a little bit, depression is something really different. It's more of a sorrow that doesn't seem to go away. And from what I've experienced myself for short times and what I've heard from people that have experienced it or currently experience it, and for things that I've read, it drains your motivation. Depression can destroy your desire to be rooted in your faith. It can cause you not to want to speak to others or talk to others, to isolate yourself. Depression can blind you to the blessings that are around you. It sucks away your enthusiasm, and it can leave you in a daze about where you are now and where you want your future to go. Also, it can cause you to see everything in a negative light and that there is no hope. Well, I want to let you know, and regardless of where you are now, what situation you are now, whether you are getting counseling or you're speaking to others or you're just trying to find a way yourself, there are steps that you can take to help get yourself out of this state of mind. There is a way out. There's always a way. Never give up. Never think there's no light at the end of the tunnel. And know that you are valuable and you are worthy of being happy again and being yourself again. First, I want to let you know that all things take place in the mind first. All improvements, all success, all negativity, anything takes place first in the mind. So don't feel that you are imagining these things. If you feel this way, if you're experiencing these feelings, then they are valid and they are real, and there is nothing wrong with you. You are merely reacting to outside stimuli. You're reacting to events, and maybe you feel at this time you feel powerless and you don't know how to handle it or what you should do or where you should go. You may be afraid to ask others for help, or you may have asked for help and again you're having counseling right now. Maybe you don't feel that you're getting the total relief you're desiring, and that person is being really helpful, but maybe the exact help that you need is not coming from the source you're looking for it at. Well, today I want to discuss with you understanding that depression can happen to anyone and can come to every single one of us. There is nothing that you've done to deserve it, that you're being punished, that guilt for something doesn't mean that you deserve to be depressed. I want you to know that, again, this can happen to anyone at any time for any number of reasons, and that your feelings that you are having are being experienced by millions of people around the world. So you're not alone. And although you may be physically alone where you're living or where you're staying, or you feel like you want to just draw away from everyone and be socially distant, you're still not alone. There are biographies of famous people we know, like Abraham Lincoln, Winston Churchill, where they spoke about they experienced periods of Great Depression, and we know how gifted they were and the legacies they left on the world from their beliefs and the challenges that they overcame and what they did for people all over the world in a whole. So know that if these people and many more that you can probably find online, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, who are experiencing these things, who have experienced these things, and who have overcome them, you know that you can overcome them as well. About a third of the population experiences depression under normal conditions, meaning where we're not having a pandemic or some type of event that is nationwide in the U.S. or worldwide that's affecting people to a great extent. And of course, when these things happen, then the percentage increases, and it's far beyond the regular feelings of having your regular highs and regular lows. It can be really, it can really affect your soul, and it can really affect you mentally, and it can really affect you physically, where your health, you're not feeling well. And even in the Bible, they spoke of men of renown that you may be familiar with, such as King David, the prophet Jeremiah, the prophet Elijah, Jonah, you know from the story of him being lost in the well for 3 days. They even experienced depression. And we know the great things they came later that they are known for doing. Even King Solomon, who's known as one of the wealthiest rulers ever, confessed to the Lord that he came to a place where he hated life. Read Ecclesiastes 2:17. And knowing this hopefully will help you to realize that depression isn't unique or unusual. It's something that can happen to everyone, and that we shouldn't be afraid to seek guidance from others, seek help from others, to speak to others about what is causing the depression, to speak to others about those feelings we have that we may be ashamed of or afraid of sharing with others. Don't be afraid to share those feelings. It can happen to anyone. It happened to my family last year during the earlier parts of the event. As Rascal family knows, and some of you may not know, I lost my mother last year. And prior to that, I lost my uncle, who was her brother. And each one affected me in a different way. And as you can imagine, losing my mother affected me in a way that I really didn't expect. For almost a week, I didn't eat. And I was so concerned about making sure that my daughter and other family members were okay. And I prepared meals for them, and I still took care of things daily that need to be taken care of. And I would cry all throughout the day. I would just see something that would make me think of my mom, and I would just cry. And I didn't want to go out. And during that time, it was best not to go out. So on one hand, it ended up being a blessing that I was able to stay inside because of the stay-at-home order, and I was working at home. My daughter was a really big help to me, even though she was going through her own feelings of dealing with it. And we were there for each other, sometimes in silent ways and sometimes in ways that we spoke. And after about a week of praying and feeling guilty and thinking I could have done something different, or how we could have helped, and just having all these thoughts. And the Spirit ministered to me. I'm so grateful for that. But after almost a week, I realized that I had to get things done. And the realization did come as a result of meditation and prayer. And I finally started eating, I should say, period. I ate a little, and then I eat a little more, and then I eat a little more. And one thing that I'm really grateful for is that even though I was not calling and talking to family members about what happened just to notify them that my mother had passed away, there were people who would text, and people who called, and people who emailed, even though I was not reaching out to them. But they let me know they were there. And I know that in your experience of what you're going through, there are people that are attempting to reach out to you and let you know they're there. Some because they understand, because it's happened to them, and some because maybe they don't understand, but they just want to be there for you. And just knowing that hopefully will make you a little more open to knowing those feelings are shared by others. So in our next video, I want to discuss with you recognizing the dangers of depression, because there are some dangers for some people depending on the extent and the length of time they've experienced it. Again, I am not a doctor. I am not a licensed psychologist or psychiatrist. If you're taking medications, please continue to take them and do not stop. These videos are not a replacement for professional help. If you are feeling emotions and having thoughts of harming yourself, please contact the 800 number. Talk to someone, talk to anyone, because you are valuable and you are worthy and you are deserving of being yourself again. And most of all, you are loved, and your absence will create a vacuum for those around you and those that love you that can never be filled, no matter how time goes on. So, thank you for listening. Know that it will get better, and keep looking for that light at the end of the tunnel. I promise you it is there. See you next time.